It's the crazy guy with the lazy eye. Him it, I news. It's the crazy guy with the lazy eye. Him it, I news. It's the crazy guy with the lazy eye. Him it, I news. It's the crazy guy with the lazy eye. Him it, I news. He's moving through the city with the camera in his hand, keeping our city informed as much as he can. In the city where we live, breaking news from left to right. Time for us to come together. He's the ears and eyes at night. It's the crazy guy with the lazy eye. Him it, I news. It's the crazy guy with the lazy eye. Him it, I news. It's the crazy guy with the lazy eye. Him it, I news. It's the crazy guy with the lazy eye. Him it, I news. Media's 97 on ActionIronNews.com, CNET.com, bringing it to you live. Yeah, we got the story on ActionIronNews.com.
That's right, folks. We do have that story. I am that crazy guy with the lazyeye.com and himandInews.com, and I also got Dennis Fletcher here with us on hosting our news show that we're doing out here. It's every time everybody knows it's election time right now. So, how are you going to know who you're going to vote for if you don't get to hear from your candidates? So that's why we're doing a series out here called Meet Your Candidates, and go ahead and bring some information up and let everybody know that this is actually brought to you by our sponsors over at Deal Busters. Make sure you do go check them out, especially on Fridays at 9 o'clock, where everything in the store is only $7. That's at 1913 East Florida Avenue, right there in Hemet. So we always definitely want to give them a shout out. They're the actually ones that are helping us with this show on Meet the Candidates. So we're actually going to go ahead and introduce everybody to you while we start the show called Meet the Candidates. And we have Dennis Fletcher over here on my right side. He's the co-host of the Most of the West Coast, folks. And then we have, of course, not saving the best for last, but we do have Miss Jamie Swain, who is Riverside County District 5 Supervisor candidate. And we're going to be doing questions and answers. Oh.
No.
No?
No.
What did I say wrong? I done messed up on my show.
It's okay. It's State Assembly District 47.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was actually looking on the wrong notes here.
That's okay.
Jeff Hewitt was that one. I'm actually looking at the wrong
Yeah,
notes. I do. Where did other papers
Okay,
go?
here's another one.
But there we go. Dennis has got it. Anyways, what are you running for?
State Assembly
State
47
Assembly
District.
47. There
I
we
brought
go.
4 of them down here.
Yeah, I did. We've been doing so many note swapping over here.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there we
He
go.
was
Now
just
it's
testing you
good.
guys. He wanted to make sure
That's
y'all
what
knew.
it
Well,
was.
we had to have some good outtakes.
We need some bloopers on
when we do
this,
the
right?
cast part. You know?
That's right.
You gotta have that. That's a good blooper.
So she's actually running for California Assembly District 47, and I don't know what district you guys are in, but you know what? If you're in her district, this is a time and opportunity to meet your local candidate and ask questions. I will be putting a phone number up here on the screen. Let me see if I can find that. We will be doing call-in questions. You can actually, after we get to the point of Dennis's questions, you can actually call the number up on the top left-hand corner of your screen at 951-364-4495, and you can actually call in live and ask any questions that you would like to ask Miss Swain. So she is a local resident here in our town, and she wants to make a difference. So let's see what kind of difference she can make, and I'm going to turn it over to my co-host, Dennis Fletcher.
Thank you very much, Eddie. And Jamie, I want to welcome you to our new series here, Meet Candidates. You're one of the first ones we've talked to. Maybe we can clear up a bit of the confusion about District 47. Isn't there a District 64 floating around here also.
There is, and I believe Miss Rubio is one of the candidates running out of 60.
Jasmine Rubio.
Yes,
Yeah.
I got the honor of meeting her at the women's conference. Beautiful woman, very nice.
So some of the people in the valley here are in 47. Some of them are in 60, and then 47 includes some other cities around here besides the San Jacinto Valley, doesn't it?
Yes, and there are other candidates running for the 60th district. I believe Mr. Jackson, Corey Jackson. I'm not familiar with all of the candidates.
But just in case of in case of your District 47, could you indicate to us what some of the other areas are, or is it just
Some of the areas?
It's not just the San Jacinto Valley.
No, it's not.
Okay.
So we have Palm Springs all the way down to San Bernardino, and that has a lot of different cities. You know, it's a vast area.
Like Indio.
Yes,
Oh,
in
yeah.
Cathedral City, Palm Desert.
Okay. All right. Well, Jimmy, maybe you could just give our viewers a little bit of an idea of who you are, a little bit about your background, what makes you a little different as a candidate, and why you decided to run for this particular office.
Okay. And also, if you're unaware of whether I'm in your district or not because of redistricting, you can check the map, and you can also call the Riverside voter registrations office.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm a Navy veteran. I'm a truck driver. I've been a truck driver for 12 years. I'm a single mom, small business owner. I have a nonprofit called Make Me Beautiful, and we mentor young adults. We give them resources, and we focus with Make Me Beautiful. A lot of people think that the outside is what makes you beautiful, but it's really
It's
your
the inside.
Yeah, so we focus on training the youth. You know, we help them find different jobs if they need. I'm actually going to reach out to Taquits because I was told that they had a job fair and they have a training group.
That's a school here in this area?
Yes, Taquits. So we have a few schools in the area. Taquits is actually not in I don't think Taquits is in my district, but when I was a coach, track coach, and I did a freshman football coach for a short period of time, I built some relationships with different high schools like San Jacinto High. I need to reestablish those relationships again. Hemet High is more in my district. But I would love to facilitate a relationship with the different schools. I'll be doing a project with Habitat for Humanity that is going to be looking for volunteers. And I think it's very, very important for us to give back to our youth. You know, education is a big thing. We talked about that in the last interview. And a lot of students don't want to go to school. You know, I've had a hard time with school. And I'm still having a hard time with school. So what we're trying to do is facilitate these different relationships for some students that don't want to go to school but still need to be able to make a decent living.
Yeah, everybody isn't academically inclined, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody doesn't want to go to school.
Everybody's in a math major.
Yeah, so this is one of the reasons why I'm running, because I grew up in Los Angeles. I was poor. I was a single parent. I had to be on welfare for, a period of time. And I know how it is to struggle. I came here, thank God, because I was a veteran. I was able to utilize my VA loan. And I still, thanks to COVID, a lot of us are still struggling. And I think that some candidates, I don't even want to just say candidates. I think some people, they are not in tune with the needs of the community, for whatever reason. I'm here in the community. I've been in the community, whether it's, being on the street talking to some of our displaced, citizens. When I was a mentor at Hemet High, we would go and make dinners. My partner that I worked with at Hemet High was Mr. Philip Aribe. And what we did, we had a mentorship program for young women and men. And we would go down to the Salvation Army and, volunteer there. But at Hemet High, they had a kitchen there. I don't know how many other schools have kitchens, but they would prepare meals, and we would go out in the community and pass out meals. And we got the opportunity to build relationships with the people in the community. And so I think that one of the things that's needed is love. We have lost the love for our community. We've lost the love for people that are less fortunate than we are. And we have really lost love for our youth and having really a deep understanding of what they need. You and I talked about affordable housing and,
So let's get into some of our questions, given
Yeah.
that background. One of the things that we thought we'd ask you at the beginning has to do with our valley, the current reputation that our valley has. And of course, everybody wants their home to be in other Beverly Hills, right?
Right.
Around the corner. And so, what are your thoughts about what we could do to make our valley stand out a little bit more, be more accessible, and maybe attract more businesses? Are there things that that you would be doing as our representative in Sacramento to attract businesses into our valley? And
Absolutely. So one of the things that's being done, there's a group called Black Voices of the Valley. This is a group for African American businesses. It's under construction. Stephanie Bruce. She is in deep. I don't know the proper word I'm looking for, but she is in contact with the mayor. She's in contact with one of our candidates that's running for Congress, and then I'm also a part of BVOV. They go out and they find different businesses to build relationships with, so that they can support the businesses in the area and help them get some leeway and letting people know who they are. I'm part of the Chamber of Commerce. I just did an application to become their ambassador. So one of the things that I was told that our community needs, aside from bringing jobs in and helping with the crime and our homeless population, I was told that a lot of our streets are not lit properly.
That's one of the big problems we have.
And then another problem is speed bumps. I was told that a lot of our citizens would like to have speed bumps by the elementary schools. So when I get the opportunity, I'm going to meet with Mayor Malcolm. He gave me his number to contact him at the city council. Everyone, if you need to talk to our mayor is open. He's out in the public.
And tonight's a good night because tonight's the city council meeting tonight.
That's right. He's
Yes.
going to be down there running the show.
Right.
I'll be leaving here, going over to the city council meeting to support Ms. Lamas with the Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
So I will be getting an opportunity to speak with him maybe later on in the week so we could talk about these issues. I was saying earlier that I had the pleasure of meeting the chief of police in Palm Springs. And so I would like to meet with him, but also facilitate a time where I can meet with the other chiefs of police and police associations in our area to see what we can do to bridge the gap between our citizens, and also facilitate a relationship with Cops for Kids so we can see what we can do to teach these children that they don't have to be afraid of law enforcement. Maybe if we can change that narrative, we can stop the crime and take off one of those problems that we're facing in our area.
Well, crime's one of the things that we wanted to bring up, so maybe we should talk about that. You have some thoughts about citizen safety, how the citizens and police can work together better, and changes in policing that might help the police. do their job better?
Well, as I stated before, we need to bridge the gap between the citizens and our law enforcement. Our law enforcement needs to know that they're doing a good job.
Excuse me, guys.
You know, and despite maybe a few bad apples, there's bad apples everywhere. So, you know, if
Eddie and I are a couple of bad apples.
y'all are rotten
Look at us,
apples.
folks.
We're the whole bad bunch.
Right. Yeah.
With the exception of, you know, maybe some people that are doing their own thing, you know, and law enforcement has to weed them out. The main thing is us having a relationship in our communities, letting law enforcement know we do appreciate them, but also getting our citizens involved, you know, so that we can facilitate safety measures for our citizens so that we can continue to feel free in our communities.
Okay, great. Any thoughts about how citizens and police could work together on a regular basis? Have you thought about any way that they might be able to come together and communicate with each other?
You know, one thing that I like is something that Cops for Kids is doing with the Battle of the Badges, allowing the citizens to come out to different events like that.
Right.
It gives us the opportunity to learn who. I think the biggest problem is you fear what you don't know. But if you are in contact with your law enforcement, then it lets you know that you can be comfortable. The only people that are not comfortable are people that have something to worry about.
Something to hide. And Eddie, maybe you could tell just a little briefly about what is Battle of the Badges for some of our viewers that haven't.
Well, it's going to be at the Ramona Bowl on May the 27th, and this is a big event with all of our local police, fire, AMR. We have, I know the main event's going to be Justin Robinson from the Camp Pendleton Fire Department is going to be fighting our local sheriff sergeant out here, Ken Hoon.
Oh.
They're going to be the main event, and this is, like I said, a lot of our local fire, police. We got Beaumont, we got some from LA, we have, you know, fire and police from all over Southern California is going to be at the Ramona Bowl going in the ring, and they're going to be hitting it hard, you know, in the boxing ring.
So it's
and
basically a boxing match.
Exactly, it is. I
Amphitheater.
think we have like 16 rounds or something, 16 different. There's so many people that signed up. And we'll give you guys a little preview of that after the end of our show. But
Are they going to be serving any food or refreshments?
yes,
I like food.
there's food and refreshments. It's provided by the Ramona Bowls concession stands.
I'm there.
And
I'm
yeah,
there.
definitely, you got to come to it.
You sold me on food.
Hey, we got good food down at the Ramona Bowls. So
Yeah, I think that that's a great opportunity for the community to come out. I think that, you know, in these times, we need to support our military. We need to constantly encourage our children to be involved in our law enforcement and politics, you know, so that they don't have to be afraid. I understand. I'm an African American woman. I grew up in South Central Los Angeles. I had a fear for law enforcement until I started to see my family members that were police officers and sheriff officers, and then it let me know I can do that. Now, I chose a different path. I chose to serve my country through military service.
thanks for your service.
Thank you. But I also was part of the security detail in the military. So I think that the main thing that I would like to encourage our citizens to do is if we have a Explore Scout program. I went through the Explore Scouts. If we have a program like that,
Yeah, we
support
do
that
here at
program.
our local PD, and
Yeah.
the sheriff's department's got that as well too.
Yeah, allow your children to be involved in that. You know, right now, I know that during COVID, we weren't allowed to do sports, but it's important that kids know that you can do more than just be a football player or a
Right.
basketball player. You can be a doctor. You can be a lawyer. It's gonna be
You can
hard.
be whatever you want to be. Put your mind to it, you
There's
know.
life after football.
It might not be easy. You know, I have a story, you know, Dennis and I are probably going to put this out one day, but it's hard going to school. It's hard. I explained to someone the other day, I've never been a straight A student. The closest that I ever came to having really good grades was being on the Dean's Honor Roll. And that was
Good.
after a traumatic
That's
experience.
pretty good. Most of us aren't straight A students. That's
Yeah.
right.
I slept
grade
in
on a
school,
curve.
but I still did pretty good after, you know.
When I woke up.
When
Right.
I woke up, it was PE time or lunchtime.
Well, I heard you mention affordable housing a little while ago.
Yes.
Do you have some thoughts or policies that you'd like to pursue in Sacramento in that area for our citizens here?
Well, that goes back to what we were talking about as far as training our youth in different jobs. I spoke before about the ROP programs. I would like to get with these different schools and find out what happened to those programs that train children on. I know they still have some, but it's not like how it was before, where you could learn how to weld and you can learn how to do carpentry.
Right.
You can learn how to do masonry. You know, we need to bring those programs back. We need to find a way to get these kids trained so that if they don't want to go to school, they can still make a decent living. Because as it stands, even with affordable housing, a lot of these millennials are not able to sustain having their own apartment because the rent is just too high.
And it's getting higher and higher. It seems
Yeah.
like this country is going into a recession again, you know. We got friends that's looking for homes right now, and I mean, it's just the cost of living has just skyrocketed,
Yeah.
you know.
You know what? This is why I tell all young people, do 4 years in the military. It'll change your life.
Yep.
Go in with the attitude of not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And you will be, it will benefit you. You know, why struggle when you don't have to?
And in the area of affordable housing, of course, part of that has to do with the bank loans and the interest rate, but also part of it has to do with new types of housing.
Yes.
Everything from tiny houses to modular homes to manufactured homes. What are your feelings about that area? Do you have some thoughts in that area?
I think that the tiny homes are great, but if you cannot get the proper financing that you need to get that, then it makes no sense. So the first thing we need to do is
See that?
get jobs. With me being a candidate, I'm looking toward getting with some of these companies and seeing what we can do to get our, people that are newly released from prison, see if we can find a way to get them employed. And then, we have these abandoned, the Sears? What was it, Sears? And then Kmart? It was Kmart. Here on Stetson Street.
Eddie's the expert on the empty buildings in the
Yeah,
valley.
we should be utilizing.
Aren't you, Eddie?
We should be
Just
utilizing
about.
these buildings.
Yeah.
There's so many different things that can be done. I'm for entrepreneurship, but I'm also for teaching. You have to train a child in a way that they should go and they won't depart from it. So if we start training them on these different jobs like we used to, I hate to keep saying how we used to, but if we train them, it gives them better opportunities to figure out what it is that they want to do so that we don't have such a homeless population. I think that a lot of it has to do with people just feeling down and out and feeling hopeless. And when you feel that way, you tend not to be motivated to do anything. And sometimes, even with me being a candidate, I walk into some rooms and I'm just like, I feel small. I feel like I'm not the most educated, or I'm not the most, I don't want to say qualified because I'm just as qualified as anyone else. But me feeling that way when I'm in a room full of other people, sometimes it's overwhelming because you start to second guess yourself. And if I can do that as a woman with all the different, degrees, I was a cosmetology instructor, I was a barber instructor. Thanks to my veteran service, I went to school for massage therapy, and then I said, you know what, this is not going to make me the type of money that I need to make. So then I went back to school and I got my associates in paralegal studies, and then I said, you know what, I want to properly represent veterans, so I decided to go to law school. That's been a journey, and I'm also going to school to get my I'm going to school to get my doctorate, my Juris Doctorate in law. Looks like I'm going to be looking for another school. And then I'm also in school to get my bachelor's in business administration. So I'm just like you. You know, I struggle just like you do from time to time. And that's what makes me a good candidate. I'm compassionate. I know what the needs of the people are because I too have those needs.
Sounds like you're as much a student as you are a practitioner now, and you're continuing to learn and train yourself in new areas.
Yeah.
What about some of the people that did not get the training and found themselves unable to support themselves and ended up homeless? And that seems to be a growing population in the state of California and in Southern California. Do you have some thoughts on what we could do about that situation?
Yes. So I think that the best way to find out what the needs of the people are is to talk to those people. Fortunate enough for me, growing up, I went to school near Skid Row, and I had to walk through Skid Row to get to school. And I had, you know, a lot of people feel like people are homeless because they're lazy or they're drug abusers. During the Reagan era, a lot of mental health facilities were shut down. And so a lot of people were displaced. A lot of our mental health, you know, people that suffer from mental health issues were displaced. A lot of those people were veterans. You can't tell me that these veterans are lazy. You can't tell me that, you know, these veterans are just drug addicts and don't want to do anything better. But then you do have that small group that are down and out, and they found it easier to get a hand out instead of a hand up. Can't do anything about that. You know, the only thing we can do is just talk to, you know, our homeless citizens and find out what are their needs.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was talking with our mayor, and Mayor Malcolm was telling us in one of our interviews, you know, that he went out and he was talking with the homeless, trying to help the homeless. And you got, you know, categories of different types of homelessness. You got the ones that, you know, like we're a payday away from being homeless ourselves.
Right.
You never know. You know, you just get down on luck. The economy, you know, crashes, or, you know, there's different ways, you know, you accidentally, like for instance, you know, we have friends that was renting a place and the landlord died and they ended up selling a home and they hard to get a place, you know, and they end up being homeless.
One size doesn't fit all.
But then you've got these others, like Mayor Malcolm was asking these people on the streets, if we gave you a place to live, got you off the streets, would you go? No. And they says it's because we like our freedom, we like to be able to do our drugs, and you know, we want to do our drugs wherever we want to, and we like it because the community takes care of us, they give us money. And that's why, you know, like our police always say, you know, a lot of times, you know, you feel that you're helping a lot of the homeless. Help the ones that need the help. But the ones that don't want the help, but you still helping them, all you're doing is enabling them.
Well, what I feel about that is this, and I said this the other day. We have a vast area of land that nothing is being done with. For those people, some people are scared of responsibility. Okay?
Exactly.
And if you know, never had to be responsible, it would scare you. Everybody is not built for that. So if you want to live in a tent, you cannot infringe on the rights of the businesses, you know, and the people that are paying taxes. But what I would say is the tiny homes. Give them tiny homes. Put them in you know, an area where it's their area and they're not infringing on anyone else. All we ask is that they keep that area clean, have a patrol come through, check on them. But also, so I'm for tiny communities, not just tiny living, you know, tiny house living, but tiny communities where here you are, you're the sheriff of your town, and you're responsible for keeping this area clean, maintaining it, and it would be like, this might not, I never give good analogies, guys, so work with me on this. On the Navy ship, we had a community of our own. You had dentists, you had, you know, storekeepers, you had the bosun mates, you had the security team, and then you had, you know, the air fleet portion of it. So you can do that same thing in a tiny community
Right.
where, you have someone over here that provides goods for the community. And the only difference is you're not in this massive house. You're in a tiny, you're in a community with tiny houses, but you guys are not paying property taxes because you don't have to. You're not paying for, the upkeep of a big yard because you don't have to. The only thing you have to do is maintain the security of your tiny community. Mm-hmm. And if we can get people that are saying, look, I mean, again, no one has the answers because we've never been in this situation before. We've never had such a population of homelessness. But the only way we can find out, hey, okay, you don't want an apartment. I understand that. Will you be willing to be, you don't have a choice.
Right.
We're going to relocate you from here to over here. Not because we don't love you, not because we're not compassionate, but because the people here that want to be responsible
is the ones that should get that help.
Yes.
Now, the ones that wants to just mooch off the community, panhandle, get money, rob people in the community, steal, break windows, and just wants to stay out and be the, I want my drugs and all that. Those are the ones that should be ran out of the town.
Well, we can't run them out. They still have to have a viable place to go.
Well, if they would save their drug money, they could buy them a place. That's the way I look at it.
That's where the tent communities come into play, just in another area.
Right.
But we're not going to just drop you off. No, we're going to check up on you. You guys can do your own community watches. Okay? You can get paid for that. You can get paid for your community service within your tiny community. That's what I bring to the table. How can we facilitate something like that so that the people that want to live on the street or want to live off the grid, you can go to this area and it's established. You're never going to go anywhere and not have rules.
No, it's going to be rules everywhere you go.
There's going to be rules everywhere you go. Now, you can come over here because you can't be over here. I feel that we have allowed this climate of you can do what you want to do. You can say what you want to say. No, it doesn't work like that.
That's right.
So you can live like that if that's where you want to, that's what you want to do, but you can't do it here. We will find a place for you over here in the tiny community, and you can go over there. You can do drugs in your tiny living home if that's what you want to do. If you want 15 people hanging out in your tiny living home, you can do that. But you cannot do it on the street.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. So
let me ask
I'm
you
going
another.
to get with the mayor and our congressman to see what we can do to facilitate this. Because everybody wants to help and they want to solve the problem. But we have to stay in constant communication with them,
Sure. Now, Jamie, we're going to move on to a couple other questions we have here.
Yes.
First of all, you're going to be spending some time up in Sacramento, not
Yes.
just going to be down here. How do you plan on creating some kind of a bond between the valley here and what goes on up there in Sacramento? Letting them know about us, but also letting us, the residents here, know about what's going on up in Sacramento. Because when Eddie and I go around, people are concerned about the cities, and maybe they complain or they love the city councils, but they don't talk to us too much, Eddie, do they, about the assembly? Do they even know that it's called the assembly?
Right? I forgot even it was called the assembly because it's been so long.
And we have a bicameral legislature, so there's another body up there too besides the assembly. So you have some thoughts about how we could maybe improve the lack of communication and apparent coordination that's taken place in the past?
I'm glad you asked me that. Mm-hmm. So some of the things that I didn't tell you guys about me is I'm a motorcycle rider.
Okay.
I travel back and forth, and I do comedy in different places. I'm a DJ. I have a podcast.
So one thing, jack of all trades right here.
One thing that I do is through my podcast, I try to keep people up to speed on what the Assembly does, what the Senate does. I plan on being here with you guys a lot so that I can, get it out to mass people what it is that we do. But I would like to facilitate. I plan on one thing before I get into, my plans of what I want to do with the youth and how the youth will be better educated as well as our community. One thing that I would like to do is have a few satellites. I've had people in San Bernardino wondering, hey, are you going to be in San Bernardino? Are you going to be in Palm Springs? Like, where's your hub going to be at?
Right.
I don't want to tell you guys all my plans, but what I would like to do is set up satellites in the different cities that I represent, so that you guys are in constant contact with me. I can't be in 5 places at one time. So obviously, if I'm in Sacramento, I will need different representatives in the community to be able to get the word out. So that's one thing that I'm working on right now. Even with me just running, I want to be in contact with whoever takes the next seat if it's not me. But I plan on continuing to run. So the main thing is getting a group of people that represent uh, my voice when I'm not present, and still being able to keep the lines of communication open for you guys that know me. You know that you can call me, text me, or email me. So it wouldn't be any different for the satellites. I'll have 2 or 3 different people running offices for me, and I plan on doing it a little differently than what our other candidates have done. So you guys will know about that soon. And then I plan on doing Zoom meetings. I like what some candidates did. I'll name drop Melissa Melendez. I always get a Zoom invite for town halls. I love that idea. And if the community doesn't have a problem with that, I don't mind. Me personally, I want to come to your house. I like to go door to door. And you guys will get the opportunity to have coffee with me at Denny's. But I plan to have satellites where the people in my group are representing me, so that they don't have to worry about their voice not being heard.
Satellite offices.
Yes, satellite offices.
Excellent. Well, now there's one big scary thing that's looming on the horizon.
The
The last big scary bugaboo we want to talk about here is a super drought that's coming down at us, and it has something to do with the snowfall in the Sierras, which months later results in not enough water coming into our system. And the water department's already out talking to everybody about that. And what are some of your thoughts about what we should be doing?
So honestly, guys, we were dreading this conversation, but I feel that responsible citizens do responsible things. Whether it's gun ownership, whether it's driving, would have got a driver's license and all like that. If the water department is saying that we need you to conserve, then be responsible and conserve. It's not that hard. Every year we go through this. Every couple of years. Sometimes it's a little bit better. Sometimes it's a little bit worse. We're gonna have famines. We're gonna have droughts. The only thing that you can do is follow the guidelines that are set. I don't like it either. I like taking 30, 45-minute showers. But if it means that me taking a 30, 45-minute shower, my neighbors are not going to be able to have water, then that means I need to shorten that time.
Yeah.
I mean, in the military, I think we took 3-minute showers. So get in there and get out.
You're already trained. Eddie, you and I probably spend a week in there, so we're going to have to start boning up on that. But I'm singing those longer songs. Maybe I'll shorten the songs.
Yeah, shorten the songs.
That's right.
But,
Do a
that's
remix.
Good. Any other thoughts on how people can prepare for the drought?
The only thing that I can think of, I missed the meeting last night.
You went at the historic.
Yes, I was trying to make it to that meeting, but I had another engagement that I had to make, so I wasn't able to go. I would say get with your local water department, find out what are the provisions that they have set. Get water bottles, recycle your water. I know that a lot of people have dish buckets. Wash your dishes in a dish bucket
Yeah.
and use that to water your grass.
Right. Save the water and reuse it.
Absolutely. Get water bottles. I know it's a lot of money. You can, I don't really know about this, but I had sparkless water, but with our COVID, coming out of COVID, your money might be sparse. With gas prices being extremely high, um, maybe get one of those water filtration systems so that you can utilize that as an option if you don't like getting water bottles. And they even have them at Walmart where you can take it and just put it on your water faucet.
Oh, really?
So yeah, one thing I had to do was have a plumber come out and fix my spigots so that I didn't have any dripping water.
Yeah.
Your sprinkler systems. If you have a sprinkler system, instead of watering your grass for 5 minutes, water it for maybe 2.5. You know, there's different things that we can do. We have to start helping each other out, and we have to be concerned with not just self, but have to be concerned with my neighbor over here and my neighbor over here. Because at the end of the day, if there's a disaster, we can only rely on each other. So look out for one another.
Dennis, you're going to be playing that game. If it's yellow, let it metal. If it's brown, flush it
Oh,
down,
Lord.
right?
I'm not gonna go that far. I'm not
A
gonna
lot
go
of
that
people
far.
do,
Well, a
though.
lot of the newer toilets are, low flush toilets, and all the new shower heads are
You
engineered
guys
to
are a
use
mess.
less water. So we're slowly moving in that direction. We have to.
People
We're-
sit bricks in their toilet tanks to make the gravitation of it
We're in
flush
a
harder and quicker and with
semi-arid
less
desert
water.
here. This isn't
Lord bless them.
the Philippines.
I know,
It's
right?
not raining every other day here. Well, Jimmy, thank you very much for everything that you've brought to light here. This has been an excellent session with you. Do you have any final thoughts, any last minute thoughts that you'd like to leave with us, or a message to our audience that you'd like them to particularly remember you by?
Yeah, so actually I have two things I want to say. I had the lovely honor of spending Mother's Day with my grandmother. And we were having a chat. And she advised me to let everyone know, Miss Sweet Alice Harris, it's my grandmother. She told me to let everyone know that the world needs love. And without love, nothing can be accomplished. Nothing's possible without it. And so I want to say to you guys, love one another. Be respectful to one another. Have compassion for one another.
Look out for each other, not at each other.
Yes. And if you want someone you can see, vote for me. And I'm here for you. Call me, text me. If you need a DJ, call me up. Find these guys. Tell them to come track me down.
I get that. Do you get that, Eddie? I get that.
I got that. She's going to give me her card, so if you
Sincere
guys
candidate
do.
here.
If you do need a DJ, call EJ, and EJ will get over to help the DJ.
Absolutely. But the main thing is get out and vote. A lot of people say that they don't vote because they don't think their voice is going to be heard. Well, guess what? If you don't vote,
It's
your
definitely
voice
not
is
going to be
gonna
heard,
get heard.
right?
You know?
Right.
And I'm an open book. You can catch me at Denny's right there on Florida,
Florida.
off of Sanderson,
Right.
between, I think it's, Kirby
Between
and
State.
Sanderson.
Yeah, Kirby and
Yeah.
Sanderson.
So I will, go on my Facebook, go on my Instagram, check out my website. I'll pass all this information on to them. My website is under construction, guys.
So I'll tell you
So-
what you could do is just follow the comments or go into the
yes.
comments of this live
Do
stream.
we have any comments?
Not really.
Not
Just
yet?
Lori and one of Gina was in there commenting.
I got a question for you, Jim. What's
Yes.
can you tell us what your podcast address is?
Okay,
So
so
I can jot
if
down.
you guys go on Facebook to Beacon Radio, BEAKON Radio, you can catch my podcast on Wednesday nights from 7 to 8. I am open. I talk about everything on my podcast. That is my opportunity to let loose and let my hair down a little bit. We talk about different things. We talk about politics. We talk about the things that are going on in the community. And there are different platforms for different things.
Good.
Yeah. So check me out on Beacon Radio, BEAKON Radio. Hopefully I'll be doing some FaceTime on here with these guys.
Definitely.
So good night, everyone. I thank you. Pray for me. I can use all the prayers. And I hope that you guys really consider me for being your next candidate.
Thank you very much, Jamie Swain. And Eddie, I think this is a wrap. This is another successful session of Meet the Candidates. And we want to thank Jamie Swain, candidate for California Assembly District 47.
Yes.
Yep, and that's his story, folks, and they're both sticking to it.
That's right.
So definitely we will be having Miss Swain back in our studio. If you do want any, or if you have any questions, since we were going to do call-ins, but we're running out of time, you can ask any comments or comment your questions, and of course she will follow the comments and network with you guys online as well. So until then, folks, I definitely make sure you do share this video, comment that you shared. We will be giving away some free tickets to the Ramona Bowl Battle of the Badges, May 27th, and we're going to go ahead and end that with the introduction of the Battle of the Badges.
At the Bowl. SoCal Battle of the Badges on Friday, May 27th, live from the Ramona Bowl in Hemet. Doors open at 5 p.m. First fight at 6 p.m. All proceeds benefit Cops for Kids and Communities and other youth programs. Come out and show your support for your local communities. For tickets, go to etix.com. That's ETIX.com. SoCal Battle of the Badges presents Brawl at the Bowl. SoCal Battle of the Badges on Friday, May 27th, live from the Ramona Bowl in Hemet. Doors open at 5 p.m. First fight at 6 p.m. All proceeds benefit Cops for Kids and Communities and other youth programs. Come out.
It's the crazy guy with the lazy eye. Him it, I news. It's the crazy guy with the lazy eye. Him it, I news. It's the crazy guy with the lazy eye. Him it, I news. It's the crazy guy with the lazy eye. Him it, I news. He's moving through the city with the camera in his hand, keeping our city informed as much as he can. In the city where we live, breaking news from left to right. Time for us to come together. He's the ears and eyes at night. It's the crazy guy with the lazy eye.